What's going on, guys? Dave from Blackout here, coming at you with another video. This one's going to be a little bit more personal, but I hope this one helps. This is going to be on the topic of how do you mix your vocals, or my method of mixing in vocals, and how do you get those vocals to stand out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you guys one of my upcoming releases here. And I just kind of want to break down the vocal processing and kind of my method of what I would do to mix these vocals in this kind of track. This is kind of a deep house, bass house kind of track. Kind of a hybrid, whatever you want to call it, but like I said, it's got it's got some pretty cool R&B vocals in there that I really liked. And well, here, let me just play the example here, and then we can kind of get it into the processing. I'll show you guys what I have here.
Wanna feel your hands all on my body, and I wrap my legs so tight you got me. When I feel that tingle down my spine, don't be afraid of falling, cause you know we gon' fly. Da-di-da-di-da-down. Wanna feel your hands all on my body. Da-di-da-di-da-down. Love, love, oh we feeling so high.
Okay, cool. We can break down this really quick. This is, before we kind of get into the piano build and then the drop. So for this, there's a main vocal drive in it, and then I have, just a ton of atmosphere, a ton of other, ad libs, harmonies, if you want to even call them. So I'll show you guys what I do when I mix my vocals in. So I always start with, my template includes, the vocal, the chain to a certain side chain. In this one, it's going to a shorter side chain. And this is going to initiate once the kick comes in on the track. So that's kind of how I get my vocals. I side chain them separately from the bass and the other main elements in the song here. And I do that because like for instance, like I said, this track, sometimes I want the vocals to pop a little bit more, and I want them to hit that pocket. So even especially when the drop comes in, if there is a kick drum, I do want them to stand out and be more prominent. So that's kind of how I have that set up. The vocal, like I said, this is going over to my short side chain here in my mixer. And then if we want to click, and when I show you guys here, this is my processing on the main vocal. So when this comes in right here, and it's chopped up a little bit, but it comes in right here at about 7 seconds. So I'll play that again.
Wanna feel your hands all on my body, and I wrap my legs so tight you got me.
So you can hear that it stands out above the main chords, the little loop that I have in there for like I said, the kind of the melody in the background there. And on my vocal chain, I have I always cut out the lower frequencies. Everything below, sometimes, especially for a female voice, and this is obviously opinionated, but most of the time I try to cut out that anything below 200 hertz. I really want the vocal to kind of not take up that low end region, just because it gets a little muddy when I'm trying to mix in my basses and all that. So that's step one. I cut that out, and then I also I add. So I have this plugin that is awesome. It's the Maserati VX1. This thing is, I've had this for quite some time now. You can get it at Waves. I'll put the link in the description for this, and you guys can check it out. But this thing has done, it has so many awesome presets for vocal processing. It's specifically made for vocals. And, if you can't find one of the presets that, suits your needs, you'll be able to, obviously mess with the settings and hopefully figure out something that'll work, best for you guys. Um, there we go. So, yeah, this thing is just a beast, and like I said, I'll link this in the description because this has helped me really get my vocals to a point where I think they are, at a professional level. And as a growing producer, I know I have I'm constantly learning, but from what I have gained and a lot of feedback that I've gotten, especially from certain labels that I have been signed with, um, you know a lot of my mixing and stuff, can compete at, a certain higher level. So I would definitely check this one out. The next thing on here, just for this track specifically, I have some cool reverb throws that I do. These settings come from, Fruity Reverb 2, and you can do the same thing with any other, reverb that your DAW may have, or Valhalla is another one that is very popular that I'm kicking myself in the ass because I don't have it yet. But basically with this, I automate the wet, the knob here to kind of get that swoosh effect. That it's more like a reverse kind of effect on certain things. It just creates a whole awesome depth to the vocals, and this especially is present on transitions or even on the drop, which I'll show you guys in a sec here too. And then the last thing on here is the delay. I like I said, the Maserati plugin has a lot of this stuff built in already, but I always like to kind of have this, like especially on this track, take up as much space as I possibly can because it is driving the track. So certain things I'll automate. For instance, on this I have the wet knob automated to have it delay on certain transitions between maybe the break or right before the drop or something like that. But that's pretty much it, and I think even the vocal, most 9 times out of 10, you know I don't like to do too much processing on it, especially if it's like a more pop or commercial kind of EDM style. Granted, there's obviously you can do so many different things on so many other genres, and at the end of the day, you can pretty much do whatever you want to your vocals, especially the type of track you're trying to make. But for this track specifically, yeah, this is what I have going. Um, and then over here is where I have, this is kind of the secondary vocal, the ad libs a little bit. So let me pull these guys up one more time, and you can kind of hear them in the background, and I'll solo it out a little bit so you guys can kind of hear what's going on. So, just stuff like that. And then I also got this in the background. Just stuff to, take up that space. And the processing on this is a little bit different. Just because, these vocals, I don't have them as, something that is it's not the main vocal. So for this, there's a ton of EQ going into these. As soon as it'll load here. There we go. So right away, always, like I said, for what I do, and this is just my personal tip or the way I like to mix vocals for this kind of track. I love to cut the low ends out as much as I can, especially for like a a female voice, more prominent. Take up that mid range a little bit, and then moving down, I'm boosting the highs just a little bit more, cutting out the lows, just because I want these to punch through oh so slightly, just so you don't miss them. And then for this, I actually threw OTT on here because there's a certain section which comes on the drop. These secondary vocals are the actual lead, so OTT really boosts it compresses it basically pulls out those harmonics that you couldn't hear, and I have that automated over here to kind of trigger when the drop is hit. And then other than that, same exact thing with the main vocal, just some delay and reverb. And you guys can kind of see, this is just slightly, these aren't automated too much, but this is this is just playing the same role as it was on the main vocal, following suit to that with different transitions and whatnot. And then same thing here, the exact same, preset that I have for Fruity Reverb 2. And then to give you guys another quick example here, just to show you exactly what is happening. If we go over here to the break, there's going to be two vocals playing. One of them is also on the drop. This is without that OTT, and you can kind of hear the difference of how I have this mixed. This kind of like where she's given like a little solo, she's going off and just singing some harmonies or whatever is on here, but this is standing out on top of this. And then as soon as this drop comes in with that OTT and the other processing I have on there, you'll hear that this kind of stands out a whole lot more than this section.
Oh, we're feeling so high. She said she's scared of falling, but you might just slide. Cause we be on the top floor. Oh, we feeling so high. Don't be afraid of falling, cause you know we gon' fly high.
Okay, and then before I drop into that drop right there, this right here, I will say also is one other section that, for pre-build, I always like to have, and once again, this is, just subjective to, what I do in this genre. I like to, have a layered vocal with maybe the octave turned down, or maybe it's turned up, or maybe it's harmonized. Maybe there's, you're changing the semitones to a certain area that fits that. But for this specific track, I wanted it to go an octave lower. And what I will say is, if you can, always have that kind of extra layering for your vocals. To do that, obviously, if you're in FL Studio, all you would do is, you can make these unique. You can duplicate it. The control is, let's see here, shift, and then you can, hold and make a whole new one. And then, like I said, you just right-click here and then make unique. And then instantly you'll have something that's, just an extra layer to your vocal. And that's, standard for all the samples. But other than that, I'll play the drop one more time, or I'm sorry, I'll play the drop right now, and then you guys can hear the quick difference, and you can see what how this processing kind of works on this drop is this vocal kind of drop with OTT and the settings that I have. Alright, if it doesn't, crash on us. Versus this. So this one's pitched down, obviously. This one isn't. But you can hear how different it is in terms of what is the main point here, and mixing those in and getting the kind of the right energy for the track. And that's pretty much it. That's how I'm doing the vocals on this track. Like I said, every track is obviously different, but I did want to share this and go over my processing and how I kind of mix in a ton of vocals, and have just that as like the main focal point around all the other instruments and whatnot. So if you guys like this video, give me, drop a like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to hear the whole song, or if you're, excited to, see more of this kind of stuff, definitely hit me up in the comments. And like I said, like, share, and subscribe all this. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.